been a long time coming, and now it's finally here. With these expansions pushing my total playtime past 300 hours combined, it's time to talk about the expansion of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, the Hidden Treasure Area Zero. We're covering both halves of the story and the post-launch epilogue, so here we go. Here is how to leverage IP. As before, I will describe gameplay tech aspects as I go. The expansions build upon, introduce concepts in the base game. They also hold a slew of side activities I can tell you about. The performance hasn't been completely overhauled, it has been vastly improved in my experience. With more graphical and audio updates on the way, I'm actually glad the developers aren't releasing another full game till next year. Now, let's open this up. In order to start this DLC, you will need to have beaten the base game's main story at least once. After that, you and your classmates are invited on a school trip to Kitakami Village in the Johto region. Right off, I really like how the setting resembles a mountainside Japanese village and its folklore. If we're not visiting Johto on a larger scale yet, I do think it will happen one day. While staying in the community center of Masui Town, no comment about the meme about their water closet. We are also introduced to two new characters for the story of this DLC. The passive-aggressive Carmine and her more reserved younger brother Kieran. I also really like these characters. I'm here to explain why in this review. They live with their grandparents Yukito and Hideko. Another character I have immense appreciation for is the photographer Perrin, who is implied to be the descendant of Adaman from Legends Arceus. After you register 150 entries in the Kitakami Pokédex, you'll take part in a mission to find the Blood Moon Ursaluna. I successfully caught it, by the way. They had me at the zombie bear design. Anyway, the main story centers around the Pokemon Ogerpon and its conflict Loyal 3. Okidogi, Monkidori, and Pheasantpity. There's something of a retelling of the legend of Momotaro, which will become quite apparent during this review. The first mission is tracking signposts, was actually a pretty nice way of getting a lay of the land. I always appreciate the story works with the world design. Once the second signpost is found to the last, it's time for the festival mass to begin that night. I must say, I really like how it's presented as a Japanese festival, with everything from the vendor stalls to the cosmetics being a part of that. Also, rather enjoy the Ogre ousting minigame. Reminds me of the ones in Stadium on a larger scale. We also have our first encounter with Ogerpon. While Kieran likes the beast, Carmine isn't so certain. The matter is complicated when she sees Ogerpon, but keeps his information secret from him. The next day, once the last signpost is found, we found out more about the story. Turns out the legends were connected to an old mask maker, something of kindred spirits. He not only built the eponymous teal mask, but its other artifacts as well. The masks end up being taken by the Loyal 3. Turns the story behind them was completely backwards. They were not the victims, but the instigators. Carmine dubs them the Lousy 3, and before they can be captured in the post-game, they must be tracked and beaten and to retrieve the stolen masks. I actually like this idea, and it builds upon the boss fights in Legends Arceus and the Titan scale fights in the main game. I went after Okidogi, who resides in the Paradise Barrens. The poison fighting type is certainly a big one, base stats total 555, and beating him allows us to recover the Cornerstone Mask. Second is Monkidori, a poison psychic type with a big brain, whose base stats also total 555. Beating him gets us back the Wallspring Mask. The third and final retainer fluttering above Oni Mountain is the poison fairy type Pheasantpity, yet again with base stats of 555. Winning lets us recover the Hearthflame Mask. Now, the time has come to decide who Ogerpon gets for a partner. Kieran, none too pleased with how his sister hid the sickening truth from him, confronts us for Ogerpon. Whoever wins the battle gets to try and catch them. In one fell swoop, I win and catch Ogerpon. After one more battle with Carmine, she and Kieran are called back to their school, the Blueberry Academy in Unova, by order of their instructor, Briar. The stinger that sets up the next chapter features Kieran, who was mostly reserved for most of this expansion, putting up his hair, making a rather unnerving smile. It tends to get stronger, though not in the way you expect. The village is also packed with over 200 Pokemon returning from previous titles, a precedent that we built upon next chapter. There's also a variety of challenges in battle, my personal favorite being the Kitakami Ogre Clan. Each member has competition-ready rosters, and it's named for swords in the Japanese folklore. The leader is Muramasa, and you can defeat the other 7 members in order you want to. Masamune, Raikiri, Hasebe, Kanemitsu, Kunitsune, Munechika, and Kotetsu. I even hatched a chimchar from an egg that Jock gave me. Now, on to the next chapter. Chapter picks up where the previous one left off. It took a few tries to start, including rebooting my console and reinstalling the DLC, but I was able to accept the invite from Cyrano to study as part of the exchange at the Blueberry Academy Unova. Given what I'm about to tell you, I do argue it's less if and rather when a full revisit of Generation 5 will be. The Academy itself has 4 distinct biomes, full of more than 200 recurring Pokemon from across the franchise's history: Canyon, Coastal, Polar, and Savannah. There's even missions where you can get to find leads on new Paradox Pokemon from Perea and NES. I was among those making Rise of the Beast jokes, the dinosaur variants of the Johto Legends, and robot versions in the Universal Road to Justice. What sold me was being able to catch all the previous generation starters, as if to say, I will take your entire stock. Herein, as a result of the events of the previous chapter, is now much more powerful trainer, becoming champion of the Academy. This has also had the side effect of turning the timid but kindly boy from the first chapter into a cold-hearted and overly competitive rival. I actually like how we not only get both the friendly and edgy rival this time. This makes total sense based on the last chapter's events and Carmine's influence. Anyway, in order to face him, you need to beat the Academy's own Elite Four. During your stay, you also complete quests to gain rewards for yourself and the school for the points earned. They are known as Blueberry quests, amusingly barbecues for short. Yes, that does include cooking, and we'll come back to that in a bit. Lacey is the opponent I chose to face first, as we had a battle help break the ice when I arrived. I won it, though don't be fooled. She and every other trainer you face in the Academy has rosters and strategies that are common in competitive play. In order to face her and other members of the Elite Four, you must first pass their trials, some of their remix of the trials in Generation 7. Hers is a trivia challenge where you have to get 5 correct answers. Lacey specializes in fairy types, and her ace is an Excadrill. Her father is also the gym leader Clay, again suggesting the question of Revision Generation 5 is less if and more when. The second member I chose to face is Crispin, the chef and fire type specialist. Before you fight him, the trial is to trade for ingredients to make a spicy sandwich of his preference. I recommend this recipe in order to clear the trial: onion, double jalapenos, chorizo, mustard, and chili sauce. You're welcome. His ace is a Blaziken, the only one not to be steel type in some way. Third in line is Amaris, who specializes in steel types. In order to face her, you must pass the flight course. It's a bit like the challenges in Pilot Wings if you've played any of those games. This also allows your mount to fly freely in any direction. Her ace is a Metagross. The fourth and final opponent I picked is the laid-back Dragon Master Drayton. He is Drayton's grandson, and in a sense, Iris' adopted brother. To fight him, you had to face 3 ace trainers using only monsters you caught in the terrarium. As someone who wasted no time doing so, I have plenty to choose from. His ace is Archaludon, a new monster that evolves into Duraludon. After clearing the Academy Elite Four, you face Kieran. You can bring out Ogerpon from before, and even has unique dialogue when it happens. Oh, that's not very nice. Much like the main game, we traced Terapagos back to Area 0, and I also caught some of the Paradox beasts I didn't before. Still eager to go 100% completion. As for the Master Ball breaking when Kieran tries using it here, well, that is technically consistent with the fractional failure rate they have. Thankfully, one of the ones I saved for Terapagos is more successful. After that's over, Kieran apologizes for his behavior, as does Carmine. They'll head back to Blueberry Academy as the credits roll to an arrangement of Celestial by Toby Fox. Earlier this year, an epilogue went live with this expansion. In order to play it, you will have to have cleared the story of both previous chapters. Now, once all that is taken care of, you pay a visit to the shop in Kitakami Village. After you see a funny-looking pillow, you get a call from Arvin. Then, you meet back at your place in Kabapoko. A letter arrives from Kieran, which has tickets to Masui Town inside. Nimona and Penny also join the fun, and it's off to land of Kitakami. The one behind all the chaos is Pecherant, another piece of Kitakami folklore that can produce delicious mochi that can influence the will of those who consume it. This results in something of a gauntlet of battles to snap the affected people out of their trance. I do like the music in this expansion. Suffice to say, I don't think that's what they meant when they said Warrior needs food badly. Let's run through the gauntlet of opponents. The first is a couple named Aya and Shige. Their monsters are pretty common. If you've logged as many hours stacking XP as I have, you shouldn't have too much trouble. Next are Kieran's grandparents, Hideko and Yukito, who distribute the mochi on top of sampling it themselves. Their roster is a bit tougher, since it's implied they taught their grandkids everything they knew about battling. That it's also hinted that their parents are gone. After that, normally serious to almost comical degrees, Arvin and Penny are fed the mochi, which adds to the challenge and humorous epilogue. The last human opponent is Nimona, which is able to resist the poisonous mochi chance of her own battle cry for a match, is an indicator that real Nimona is still in there. I have made clear how much I like her character before, and she's the last one before we face Pecherant proper. I've not seen such bravery. Catching Pecherant is another battle that parallels the Titans in the main game and the boss fights in Legends Arceus. Also, it's another one where the beast is less than pleased to see Ergopon as I beat and capture it. With Pecherant captured and quelled, everyone returns to a better place to study. That certainly was a fun little bonus. Now that I've covered the main storylines of this expansion, here's some post-game bonuses I didn't touch on before. Starting with Nimona, her post-game quest involves trying to find a worthy opponent, and a balance between that and her role as student council president. Having reached the top, she wonders where to go from there. Upon reaching her dormitory, she decides to keep doing her best for herself and for everyone. Her quest is the most straightforward. The other two take a few more turns. In order to start Penny's post-game quest, you meet her by the bookcases in the main hall, keeping an eye on Giacomo and Ortega. The former admins of Team Star are trying to integrate the Pokemon Academy, and this quest is to make sure it goes alright. First, we see Atticus in the student store, bonding with the classmate over a ninja dogi. It's also really, really ridiculously good looking behind the mask. How about that? I head to the art room, where after a quick chat with Hassel, we discover that Mayla and Eri have an interest in art and want to join the club. Aw, that's sweet. Mayla even has a soft spot for a minimalist painting of a fletchling. Eri even notices us. I also like how there's more to them than just being delinquents. Eri even started a wrestling club with Carmen. After meeting Penny in the STEM classroom, she comes clean in her dorm that she's been keeping watch on the former Team Star admins. It's glad they're adjusting fine. She doesn't have visitors often, but she's glad to have us any time. Always a pleasure to chill with the figurines and evolutions. Our rewards, we get to see the admins in normal wear. They actually clean up very nice. What's more, we get to help them catch up on what they missed in the main game. Though Giacomo and Eri are able to catch up fine, I need to help the others pass the makeup exams so they'll get held back. Though Ortega seems reluctant, Atticus is more than happy to accept help. Eri encourages Ortega to reconsider, and he agrees. Just leaves one question. Where is Mayla? She must be found before we can begin. Heading into the courtyard, we find her by a garden row. Though she's hesitant, I do get her to come back. Now we can begin. In order to get Atticus to realize the value of maths in relation to fashion, helping Mayla with trivia is a bit tougher, but I'm able to help her and encourage her to pursue her passions. The toughest students to reach, at least for me, is Ortega. In order to help him pass their exams, get a whole new set of their cosmetics from them. Penny also encourages them to be more open with her. They agree, and she takes her study help from there. Now, let's talk about the quest with Arvin. Turns out his parents have history with Clavel, and his office was once their lab. He also took care to preserve their equipment when he became director. This plot thread ends with the big reveal in the Crystal Pool and Kitakami, as a payoff for the end of the main game. In a sense, the Professors are alive and so are the dreams of their son. Upon returning to the Pokemon Academy, we talk to Arvin in his homeroom. Back at the entrance hall, Arvin's looking over his parents' research and discovers something. Though he doesn't specify what it is, we follow him to his dorm, and he decides he wants to be a cook. Still has even more to discover. I believe we've made a positive change in this timeline by swapping notes, so let's wrap this up. Much like the expansion in Sword and Shield, the Hidden Treasure Area Zero builds on the strengths of the base game while also functionally serving as the equivalent of the past game's third versions are Yellow, Crystal, or Platinum if you will. Even with the admitted rough launch, it's looking more and more like Generation 9 will get its redemption arc like Cyberpunk 2077 did. The similarities between the two are astounding. The confirmation the Switch successor will be revealed before the end of the fiscal year in 2025 also bodes well for the future in the coming Legend ZA. I mean, no disrespect to those who had a rough experience with these games, but I only believe they're necessary experiments. As I'll enjoy the main games and the expansions, I honestly loved the ideas shown in them were built upon Generation 10. I'm once again glad for letting me share this with you all, and I'll see you all again soon. Thank you, treasured friends.